Dear everyone, welcome back to the show for another thrilling episode of From RJ with Love. As always, I am your host, RJ Palhegi. Thanks again for coming back and listening in. And this week, the podcast has got so popular that I have a special guest who wanted to be on it. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, Melinda Bradford.
I would say best friend, just so we're sure. I'm a level 1 friend. I started at level 3 about 6 months ago, and I got to level 1.
What do you mean by a level 1 friend?
I have no idea.
And even a level 3 friend. That doesn't make any sense.
I asked you what level friendship I had like 6 months ago, and you said 3.
But in your mind, what does the levels of friends do? Like, what would a level 1 friend do that a level 3 friend won't do?
I think a level 3 friend's probably like more of like a work friend or acquaintance.
No, that's probably... An acquaintance is not a friend. First of all.
Like maybe someone you see every so often, but it's not like... a person that you would hang out with regularly. Or
that's called an acquaintance, Melinda.
I'm so nervous about laughing so loud.
Yeah, don't laugh so loud. Just burst people's ears.
Okay.
No, okay.
Also, I've been trying to get on this podcast since before it started. Not because it got so popular, in the quotation marks. I asked to be on it beforehand.
Why? What made you want to be on a podcast, my podcast, so bad?
Well, I've wanted to be on a podcast for a really long time, and I love Dax Shepard's podcast. So,
well, this isn't Dax Shepard's podcast.
But like, I feel like maybe I can get like one step closer to being like on a real podcast or more popular one.
No, this one. I'll give you that. This one is not very popular.
It's going to be, especially after I'm on it, obviously.
See, is that something a real level 1 friend would say about their friend's show?
Yes, it is.
Oh, my goodness.
It for sure is. They give you they spill the tea for you.
Spill the what?
Spill the tea, right? I use that right?
Spill the tea, yes. My mother, I talked about this. My mother and my uncle's girlfriend did not know what spilling. They thought it was actually spilling tea.
I know. She talked about it. She was like, spill the tea.
You talked to my mother about spilling the tea?
During the murder mystery, she came up to me and asked me to spill the tea.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, because in 1999 that wasn't a thing. I was like, well, you want me to spill what? And then she tried to explain it to me.
Well, let's move on to what happened this week. I didn't have a whole lot happen this week. Anything exciting happen in your life this past week?
Not really.
We are some boring-ass people.
Did you market? Marketing's my favorite part of the show.
I didn't market. I was supposed to market on Monday and Tuesday. Monday I couldn't. I was taking my mom to the airport, so priorities. And then Tuesday I was supposed to market, but then the guy didn't show up to market with me. And you just can't have a strange white guy sitting alone at a table.
That sounds amazing, though. Like, I want to watch that. You just out there marketing by yourself.
Well, one of the GAs at my job does listen. James, people want me to market by myself now. We probably won't get anyone to come play intramurals.
Are you getting very many people now? It doesn't sound like
we're trying. We aren't, but we're desperately trying and seeking. And everyone is welcome to play for the most part.
Yeah.
See, the biggest issue with intramurals now is I'm probably going to get a lot of shame for this, but it's a generational thing. It's all the kids who were told they were so good to play everywhere, yet they're not playing everywhere, but they're playing here.
Those
and
participation trophy awards.
Yes, and they still think they're the cat's pajamas and the bee's knees.
Well, when I was an MTSU, 10,000 decades ago, it was... Actually, it was like a decade ago.
Oh, there you go.
They had intramurals then.
Well, yeah, it's not
like... a cool thing.
Yes, it's not like this intramurals is a new thing. It's one, people don't... I think just people are lazier now, and there's more homework, and also people don't want to come out and play. But then, also, some of the church ministry groups come out and play, and they're there for fun.
Yeah.
And then all the other teams are taking it super, super seriously. I think that's the biggest issue.
Yeah. Well, also, it's in intramurals, there's some sports that aren't like there's not like an actual like team for the school, but they have intramurals for it.
Well, yeah, we have a ton of intramural, and there's club sports.
Oh, okay, so club sports are different though, right?
Yeah, but they all blow.
Yeah.
Although rugby's pretty good. They had a rugby
Because
tournament.
rugby's not a.
No, we don't do intramural rugby.
No. But I mean, rugby at MTSU isn't like a varsity.
Yeah, it's a club.
It's a club, right?
It's a club, yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if we had that as an intramural? 45 drunk Kappa Sigs out there trying to tackle each other?
As a 29-year-old woman, could I come play? Not an MTSU student.
No, you have to have a valid MTSU ID
God,
to play.
I always wanted to play rugby, but my mom wouldn't let me in high school. My senior year, they got a rugby team, and they were like desperately out there trying to get ladies to sign up, and she wouldn't let me because she's mean.
Because she was mean.
Yeah, well, because she said I'd complain when I got hurt and I'd be a little baby.
You would.
Yeah, I would.
It's not like you wouldn't do that.
But also, I had a lot of aggression. When I played basketball in middle school, I beat up kids on the court.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Poor little Jimmy. Be careful back there. Did you give the Jimmy warning?
Oh, well, everyone should know by now that
okay.
little Jimmy in the backseat needs to be prepped for everything.
Yeah, so, I played basketball, and we had to play against guys because we didn't have enough female teams.
That's equality right there.
Yeah, it is equality, yeah. My team was horrible. I was the only good person on it.
Well, maybe because you guys weren't good because you were out there boxing when you should have been playing basketball.
So what would happen is I would get really pissed off at my team because they were bad. And because it was my first year playing, I didn't get on, like, the better team.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to play on, like, the shit team. But
Sorry, little Jimmy.
Sorry, little Jimmy. But I started playing on the crap team. And, guys would come up and they'd, like, say stuff to my ear, like, because I was forward. And so...
Because this was what?
I was a forward.
A forward. Oh, I thought you said you were a Ford. I'm like, well...
No.
I'm like, that's very strange.
I was a forward, and you know about basketball positions.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay, well, this is the only sport I can talk to you about.
Okay, perfect.
So I was a forward, and sometimes I played center, but I usually wasn't. I wasn't the tallest girl on my team, so center was...
Yeah, so you're the forward.
Mm-hmm, and so I have been graced by God always to have a large rear end, and my coach told me when I was
thank you, Jesus.
She told me that in 6th grade. He's like, well, you know, some assets are really good to have, and this is a good one when you're playing against prepubescent.
Did he call your ass an asset?
Yeah, that's what I mean, he tried to keep it
You can't get away with that today.
Yeah, no, but yeah, he was like, you know, just use that against the prepubescent boys.
It'll distract them. They won't know what to do.
Looking back, I also had to play against my crush.
Oh, God forbid.
And so I didn't beat him up, but I beat up the other players on his team.
Just throwing elbows on?
Yeah, well, we'd go up for a foul, and I'd give them, like, a real tough look, and then I'd...
A tough look? Yeah. Oh, yeah, look out.
And, well, they knew. And
They
so
knew.
we would go up, and then I would give them a nice, strong elbow. And I, like, this fat kid once, I hit him, and he, like, rolled down the court.
Oh my goodness. Was his ass an asset? Did he use his ass as an asset?
He just had a lot going on.
All right. I did think of something that I thought would be funny for us to listen to.
All right, awesome.
A week or so ago, a friend of mine told me about how
I'm so excited for this.
they found a list on the internet. I don't know if it was on Twitter or whatever, but they go, it's a list of porn movies that parody real movies.
I'm so sorry, Jimmy.
Oh yeah, little Jimmy, you strap in right now. Not like little Jimmy, hasn't watched porn. He's had an iPad. He's probably had an iPad in his hand since he could walk.
I mean, it depends on how old little Jimmy is in that backseat.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay. We have 35 hilarious titles.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait.
Here we go. 20. Wait, where is this?
You gotta,
here we go. American Booty.
American Beauty is a great film.
Yes,
American Beauty is very interesting.
And it's Afrocentric.
Well, I mean,
and
it would have to be.
And from the poster is very reminiscent of American Beauties. So, poster. The rose covers up the asset crack. All right, let's go to the next one. Ass Ventura Crack Detective. And the tagline is, "Did someone call for a backup?"
Oh gosh. That poster though.
I know, it's...
Like
They didn't even have a guy who looks like Jim Carrey. Oh, let's keep moving on.
the Da Vinci.
The Da Vinci Load. Oh no. The truth
comes out. Okay, wait. Did we explain to you? Okay. Oh, well, I've got a whole side story. It's not.
Oh, go ahead.
Apparently, there was some evening the other night when you left. It was Friday night and you left early for the show.
Yes.
And we were.
Yes, and we will be talking about the show after our after
So
the titles.
we were joking around like we do, and we came up with a new word for semen. Dictoplasm.
Dictoplasm.
Someone said something.
Sorry, little Jimmy. This got real rough real quick.
Someone said something about soul ectoplasm or something, and then we got talking about other things and dictoplasm.
And you guys are a church group, for God's sake.
I mean, church people talk about
Yes.
intercourse as well.
Yes,
it
they
happens.
do.
That's how babies are born. That's how you came about, little Jimmy.
Really? Moving on. Evil Head.
I mean, how is this any worse?
Well, it's a knockoff of The Evil Dead.
Well, I know.
Well, just for the people who are
Okay,
listening.
Well, okay.
Okay, that one's all right. Evil Head. Oh. Dawson's Crack.
Who will get him in the end?
This is a mystery.
The big giant hole in the middle is very confusing.
Well, he's
Must be gay porn.
and he must be a veteran actor if the hole's that big.
I think we need to. Do you have other topics for us to discuss? I don't know if I can tell my mom to listen to this.
Forrest Hump.
Kelly, I'm so sorry.
Forrest Hump. Which is odd because Forrest did hump in the original Forrest Gump movie.
He did, but I don't think he was up on that lady.
Oh my goodness. Edward Penis.
I have heard about this one.
You've heard of this? Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. No.
And what's scary about this one, they have the
Have
guy...
you seen this one?
No, I haven't. They have the guy on it who's supposed to be Johnny Depp. He looks a lot like Johnny Depp.
I mean, he looks very similar to Edward Scissorhands.
Oh my
except for he's-
goodness. Very. Honey, I blew everybody.
That's probably way different from that movie I watched as a kid.
Yep.
Oh,
Sex
that
Busters.
one's very interesting.
If there's something strange in the neighborhood, who are you gonna call?
The Sex
The
Busters.
Sex Busters. Oh, of course, Game of Bones.
Winter
Winter
coming.
is coming, and they have a midget and everything.
I don't know how you can. I mean, obviously there's way more sex, but I mean, Game of Thrones already hits it pretty hard.
Yes, and speaking of Game of Thrones, this episode's getting really, really dark. You've watched Game of Thrones,
Yes, all of it.
and you
Twice.
haven't seen any twice,
Twice.
and you've missed all the penises.
I've actually seen the first 3 seasons 3 times, and I've never seen a penis in it once.
How does that happen?
I don't know. I guess my brain just shuts that out.
I mean, it's something that no one wants to look at, but they just plop it there right on screen, and sometimes there's nothing else.
I've never seen a single penis in that.
I don't think you've actually watched the show.
I watched it with Tyson and
They don't know who Tyson and them
well,
are.
I'm saying our theater friends. I watched it with our theater friends, and right after an episode where a big penis was in it, they were like, you didn't say that penis was gonna be there. And I was like, what penis? And I was in a room with 5 other people.
Maybe you didn't have your glasses on.
I know, I did have my glasses on.
Unbelievable. Moving on from this,
Okay.
try to reel us back into the realm of PG-ness.
Yep, sorry, Jimmy.
It hasn't stopped raining for a week.
Today, it did, though. It didn't rain today.
Yes, it did finally stop today. It was very beautiful out, but it's still flooded.
Yeah, it is. Out by my house, it's still flooded. The dam is.
Now, it's the state of Tennessee. Every time there's any severe weather, everything shuts down.
I mean, not everything, but yeah.
Mostly
School's
everything.
closed,
Yeah.
I mean, school's closed because people couldn't get to school.
That I understand, but I mean, after a hurricane in Florida, there was power still out. I'm still in there in the third grade writing down vocabulary words.
In Florida, would they just like make kids come to school if only some of them could?
Yeah.
Yeah, here they just say, well, those county kids can't. Those kids in Walter Hill can't get out there. You can't either.
They say no kid left behind here in Tennessee. That's nice. But yeah, it has not stopped raining. I don't know if you saw MTSU from the rec center. They took the kayaks out and were kayaking around campus. That's how flooded it was.
Now, I'll say that when they now if there's enough kids in school that are sick, they'll cancel school for sickness. They didn't do that when I was in 6th grade.
What is this wussy crap?
Every kid in my school practically got something called fifth disease.
What is the fifth disease?
Yeah, so there's measles, mumps, chickenpox, and then there's
You're those weird anti-vax people.
I am not an anti-vaxxer.
Your school was.
No, so it's really it's the way you get it is similar to getting mono. You can catch it by
smooching.
Not by smooch. Well, you could bet it, but it's you breathe in someone's cough or sneeze or something really weird. Anyway, so it started in kindergarten. You just had a
school of just rampant people coughing and people just
no idea.
Gotta get that cough.
I don't know, and there's no fact checker on this, but that might not be it. I just remember getting it in 6th grade, and it gives you this weird rash and on your and it looked like scales. Those were real gross. But you don't know you have it until you've already contagious, with chickenpox. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I remember them sending out a pamphlet with everyone saying your child may be contagious with fifth disease. So sorry, here you go.
So sorry.
And then I had it.
My school they never shut down for sickness or anything, but it would be kind of I don't even know how to say it, you remember the game Guess Who? Mm-hmm. And you gotta flip the people down. Uh-huh. Every day was a different person gone. It's who's gonna not show up or not show up today?
Yeah, I don't know why you think I'm an anti-vaxxer. I believe in vaccines.
You guys said you had measles outbreaks.
No, it wasn't a measles. It's the fifth disease in that family of diseases.
Oh, okay.
So there's not anything for it. It's not super popular. It's not a very common disease.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Walter Hill.
That's out in the boonies, isn't it?
I mean,
that's a boonie disease.
It's not a boonie disease.
No one in South Florida had the fifth disease.
Walter Hill was one of the first high schools in Murfreesboro.
It's still in the boonies.
Yeah, it is all the way out there.
I've driven out there.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Walter Hill now.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I know where you live, middle of nowhere.
I know. People come out there for the first time and they think that they're going to get shot, which they might. I mean, at least once a day I hear a lot of shotguns going off.
Well, maybe they're just, getting breakfast.
Well, people hunt out near my house a lot. And there's a big farm next door.
Well, yeah, just shooting coyotes.
Well, there's coyotes, yeah. I don't think there's any in my backyard, but they are probably on the other side of the road.
But speaking of the rain and the floods,
mm-hmm.
It floods in Florida all the time, don't get me wrong, but there was a bad one. I think I was maybe 3 or 4 years old. Mm-hmm. And people in Florida are, as I said, I've said it on here before, Florida is the Australia of America. We do not care about anything. Hurricane comes, fuck you, we're staying. No one's evacuating. My aunt was going to evacuate for one of the last hurricanes, and my family bullied her into staying.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
It's not. They're what are you going to do, get caught in traffic?
I mean, that's true.
And then just get caught in the storm on I-75? What's the point?
I guess when you live that far south, it's different. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Everything floats. Mm-hmm. But anyway, there was a flood.
You and your yachts. You mean you guys
not all of us have yachts.
Your family just gets on your yacht and you just go.
My family doesn't have a yacht. I do know a family who has a yacht.
They live next door to you?
No, they live on...
You sold yours to them?
They live on the east side. They're east siders. Oh. My family lives... How you tell where rich people are in Fort Lauderdale is there's this main highway. It's called Federal Highway. It's a US 1 Federal Highway. And if you live on the east side, that's heading over towards the beach. That's the rich part of Fort Lauderdale. Okay. And the farther east you go, the more rich you are.
Okay.
And then there's the west side. And it's the same sort of thing. It's very poor right at the first west of Federal Highway, and you get richer and richer. We're like in the middle of the poor and the rich Federal Highway.
All right, well.
So we don't have a yacht.
You don't have a yacht.
And then my friend who's on the east side has a big old yacht.
There's a big old yacht, okay.
And she's refused to take anyone on it.
So rude.
I know, honestly.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to my story. I was 3 years old, and it, flooded. And my mom got the pool lounge float thing. I can't remember what, but one of those big inflatables. Put me in a yellow, the yellow rain suit, like the guy on the fish and chips box.
You probably looked adorable.
I probably did. Boots. Had little yellow boots. And she literally sat me on that thing and pushed me out into the flood, and I started floating away down the road.
Did you have a red balloon?
No, I did not have a red balloon. Yeah, that's what I looked like, the kid from It. I looked like the kid from It.
Is there a picture?
There's gotta
Pick or
be.
didn't happen.
There's gotta be. Well, Kelly will get on that.
Okay, good.
But yeah, and she just stood there at the door. The water kind of reached.
On you or something?
No, the water reached up to the front door, so it wasn't soaked there. So you could stand there, and we dragged it out from the backyard. She sat me down on it, and then basically mule kicks me out into the stream. She's like, "Oh, there's the neighbor kids. They'll watch you." And her oldest child floated around the block.
This makes me love Kelly so much more.
And all of a sudden, I'm just sitting, from what I remember, I'm just sitting there floating. I'm like, what the? It's raining. I'm out in the rain. It's floating down the streets.
Amazing.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, so at that time, I only knew, so my neighborhood, the side of the neighborhood, it was a big oval. Mm-hmm. And then there was a road right down the middle of the oval, and I lived on the middle of the oval. And I only knew if
was it a cul-de-sac? Because that's what
No, it wasn't a cul-de-sac.
Okay.
Here's a street, and it goes around like this, and there's houses all the way around. And then there's a strip down the middle, and there's houses down there, too.
Okay.
So, for clarification. But anyway, I only knew, the right half of the neighborhood at that time. I wasn't familiar, because that's the way we drove and whatever. Mm-hmm. But the current of the flood took me to the left side of the neighborhood. I started freaking out. I'm like, oh, no! So
I don't even know as a kid if I would have been able to ride my bike that far. It sounds like. Could you ride your bike that far?
Oh yeah, I was up and down the street.
Well, I grew up in California. It's way different there.
Oh yeah, a bunch of crazy people in California.
I was only allowed to ride my bike so far down the street before I had to turn around.
Well, my neighborhood, when I was younger, was kind of like if you see any gangster movie, that's, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. They weren't mobsters, but it's everyone kind of knew each other. So, but anyway, I start floating around, and I'm like, I'm not dealing with this malarkey. So I hopped out. I was about waist deep, and I had to hold the giant floaty, and I trekked back against the current.
Way to go.
Back to the house. Mm-hmm. And my mom's like, what are you doing here? I thought you were out there floating. I'm like, woman, I was a half a mile away.
At least you knew how to get back. That's pretty awesome. At 3?
Well, as I said, it was just a circle.
Oh, okay.
And my house was the only house with a circular driveway.
Okay.
So, as I said, there was a Category 3 hurricane. I'm 9 years old chasing my dogs. Trees falling over. I'm chasing my dogs.
Just chasing your dogs?
They got out. My dad's like, they gotta go pee. Let them out. All of a sudden, gone.
Well, I've seen you chase dogs before. Hopefully it was better than last time I saw you.
Well, the last time you saw me chasing dogs, I couldn't even spell my name, and it's 2 letters long. And it's my name when I say it.
That was a good night.
Another time. But anyway, I've talked about it on here. Melinda and I created a murder mystery dinner show. It just wrapped.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. As fun as it was, there was also a lot of stress. Mm-hmm. But it was very successful.
It was, yeah.
Everyone who came seemed to have a good time. I will say, Saturday's crowd, the last show, was the least energy crowd compared to others.
I didn't get that from my point of view. But you would have a different point of view than I did.
Mm-hmm. Just because from other shows, I'm walking around and people are hollering and yelling things, and most of those people just kind of sat there like lumps.
Well, there was a lot of older people last night.
I had older people yelling at me other nights.
Mm-hmm. Like my parents and my family.
Them and then some other people.
Yeah, I had a lot of good questions asked to me last night, or this weekend. A lot of people asked me some good questions about my character.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
You played a extremely annoying Southern Belle named Lynn Morgan.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Who was a real thought.
Sure.
Do you know what that word is?
Yes.
She was real thirsty.
Yeah, but nothing against your character and all.
Also, I played it up more Friday night because Rebecca was there.
Yes, our friend Rebecca was there, who hates Southern Belles for some. She's a Southern Bellist.
She can't speak in a Southern accent, and she's lived here her entire life. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, what the hell's the matter with her?
What the fuck is wrong with her?
Don't say that word on here. Sorry, little Jimmy.
You can't say that word?
We try not to.
I'm so sorry. I've been trying to keep my mouth clean. But yes.
Only if it has to be used do we say it.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I wasn't aware of all the rules.
Yes. Well,
because you dropped a couple words already.
Well, the rules change week to week.
Rules change minute to minute.
They do change minute to minute, too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I won't.
But with the rain last night, we were out there looking like... like, if you've seen the movie... If for those of you who haven't, go see the movie Twister. We looked like the people from Twister. We were out there in the parking lot, like, looking at puddles. Seems to be flowing this way.
Man, Twisters are what wrecked me as a kid.
Really?
Yeah. I need to rewatch that movie because I act like I remember a part of it. When's the last time you watched it?
It's been a while, but I remember it pretty well because I very much enjoyed it.
Like, you could hear the water sucking out of the drains. Was that a thing?
I think that's what it was at the very beginning.
Okay, well, that's been in my head ever since I watched it. And I said something to everybody. I put that in the play I'm writing right now. And Jessica, our friend Jessica, looked at me like I was crazy. And she says, "What is that about?" And then I had to explain to her. And she's like, "I don't think that's a thing." And I was like, "I guess I need to rewatch that movie."
Or just Google it.
I guess I could use
the thing I really remember about Twister is Bill Paxton's fiance. Mm-hmm. She's the sex therapist in the back, and just yelling, "I gotta go, Donald. We got cows."
Yeah, I really need to rewatch that. I don't remember that.
You know, that's the best part of the movie. They're flying down the road. Helen Hunt is driving, and a cow's got picked up by the Twister and is floating around.
Yes, I do remember that.
She's like, "Oh hell!" She has a Southern accent, Rebecca. She's like, "Oh hell, Donald, I gotta go. Talk to your penis. I'll talk to you about your penis later. We got cows."
That's the part I don't remember. I remember the cow flying.
But yeah. And then also, the two parts that really got me in that movie was the very beginning when they're in the storm. They're in the basement. And I don't know how it happened, but the door rips open and her dad gets sucked out. And her mom, and the dog are just kind of cowering there. I don't know why they didn't get sucked out. And then the other part is one of their workers or something, they're hiding out. And like one of those saws that's just a circle. I'm not familiar with tools. A power saw, I guess. I don't know. It's a circled
I know the
saw.
difference between a hammer and a screwdriver. That's the limit of my tool knowledge.
It's one of those saws that's a complete circle and you gotta power
saw?
it. Yeah. And it goes flying, and literally you just see it go across the guy's head. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good movie. I watched that a lot as a kid, and then we moved here, and I asked my mom to take my first week of being in Tennessee. There was a tornado, and I was like, "Mom, please send me home. Please send me home." After, like, in the middle of it, I'm like, "I just want to go home." I'm from California, and there's only earthquakes there.
Oh, yeah.
And they're, like, not that scary.
Sure. I've never experienced an earthquake, so I can't speak to it.
I mean, you just get under something. Like, you get under the middle of a table, and that's it. Like, you'll be fine.
Okay. Okay, there you go. For all of you survivalists out there, if you're ever caught in an earthquake, stop what you're doing and get under something.
That's what you do because when everything...
I believe you.
When, maybe it's not the middle, but you get under a table and then you, like, when in school we had earthquake drills, you just got under your desk. And that's if something falls, it's protecting your head. And that's it.
Then do you have to wait under that object until the aftershock?
You have to wait until you get saved.
Oh, you gotta get saved?
I don't
so
know.
even if it's a little earthquake, you have to wait it out until you're saved?
No, you have to wait till after it's done.
Okay.
But there were plenty of times that there were earthquakes and I never even knew because I thought it was our dog running through the house.
What? Did you have Clifford the Big Red Dog?
I grew up with, and my aunt and uncles, I stayed there a lot, they had bull mastiffs. So those two running through the hallway and you don't even know, like someone would be like, are you okay? There was an earthquake. And I'm like, I thought that was the dogs. I remember that happening, but yeah, I didn't notice them half the time. I mean, people say they have been here. I never felt one here.
Yeah, neither have I.
People freak out.
Our friend, I won't name her, but I'll whisper it.
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to. She'd freak out if I mentioned her on here.
Well, I didn't even ask permission to mention.
She goes, my daughter was born on the day of the big tornado here in Tennessee. And that's just been her whole life, is just a whirlwind of disaster. I'm like, well, that's nice to say about your daughter. She's like, it was a sign, RJ.
I have another friend that her son was born during a tornado, but they call him Tornado Jack. That's his name.
Well, fitting.
They were in the middle. She was like, had to finish giving birth, like, in the hallway with everybody in there because...
Well, that's a good way to be introduced to the world.
Yeah. Or
just
to let everyone see what's going on in your business. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so...
But, they're very professional about it in the hospital.
Yeah.
We're all going to be very safe while this woman squats out a baby.
There were a lot of babies born during that.
I'm sure there's a lot of babies born all the time.
Yeah, so...
All right, Melinda, it's time for an ad.
Awesome.
And as you can see on the screen, it is for your business and our good friend Jessica's business, who we've mentioned a few times on here.
I didn't write anything out, and I should have.
I know. I thought about this, and I figured you'd want to do a little plug for Lighting the Dark Ages. And what is Lighting the Dark Ages?
It is a handmade candle company for every occasion. We have hand-poured soy candles, mostly essential oils. And we can do only essential oils. And we use recycled products. So we, find different containers that can be reused. So a lot of mason jars or cups or teapots and all kinds of different stuff. And then we also have hand dips candles that are carved into different designs, and those can all be custom made.
Yep. I have I have two. They're like coffee mugs, and they're like sweet cinnamon.
It's cinnamon, I think pine and clove.
Yes, and I can tell you it is awesome. Where could they find you?
So you can find us on Instagram or Facebook or online, Lighting the Dark Ages.
All right. Awesome. Now we're going to move on to, this is personally my favorite part of the show. It's the weird articles.
My favorite part of the show is when you talk shit about everyone you have seen during the week. And
well, yeah.
You haven't told me about any weird people or people you've seen during the week. So.
I didn't. Oh, actually, I went to dinner earlier tonight. Yeah. This girl, it was incredible. She had like the 70s fro. She looked like Pam Grier.
I love that.
It was awesome. She was working it too. It was like perfectly circular. It was like a perfectly circular fro.
That's a lot of work.
It is, so good for her.
So you're not going to talk shit about her, though?
No, I enjoyed it quite thoroughly. Look, if you do something that upsets me, I'm going to tell people about it.
I mean, you have in great detail.
Yes.
Before you get to your weird articles, we have some things from previous shows we have to discuss.
Like what?
Okay, number one, colored hair.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So it's very in style right now.
If you say so.
It allows you to be creative and also be fun and just show off a little more of your personality.
Listen, all I'm going to say to that is I got distracted one time because there was someone with red hair and I thought it was a red light.
I've had every hair color except for brown.
That seems very stressful.
It's not stressful.
So what else is it that you need to discuss now?
Okay, so what was the other thing? You said you have a list of things you've talked about in previous episodes.
Oh, well, yeah, that's on the other sheets of documents.
But there were other topics that I've called you about.
Do you remember which episodes, maybe?
It was one. Most of them were in the first episode, I think.
Oh, all the way back to the beginning. That's when I was in the club.
In the club. Oh my goodness. Hip hop music, yeah. Oh, man. Also, I've never been to the Palace. I've never even heard of the Palace, and you and your friends go all the time.
Me and my friends, first of all, don't go all the time. I thoroughly enjoy the Palace, as everyone knows, because they play real country music there.
Real country music. Yeah, I know.
Yes.
That sounds interesting.
It's not interesting. It's incredible.
Okay. Well, it sounds cool.
All right. Well, if you can't, you better think of
All
something
right.
real quick.
Okay. Well, okay. Continue with your weird articles, and then I guess it was just maybe the hair thing, and then we already discussed the people wearing stockings or like different.
No,
stuff
we
underneath.
didn't. We'll talk about that right now. What?
Okay, so I understand what you have wrong with the young lady with the fishnets underneath her jeans.
Yeah, that's the only one I'm concerned about.
But in general, jeans with holes.
Listen, I don't like it.
Okay.
I think you should be a hardware repairman, like a handyman, or like a dirt bike person.
I mean, you would have to say that. I would say that probably almost every female friend you have probably wears hole jeans.
Yeah, probably. See, I feel like you need to work for your holes.
Okay.
You can't just go pre-holed.
Pre-holed, no, okay. I mean, but that's not. I feel like that's probably not going away as a fashion look because it's.
Well, then I'm still gonna be upset about it.
Well, I feel like you should probably. Calm down.
Here's what gets me.
Okay, excited.
It's when it's 40 degrees outside and there's people with giant holes in their jeans.
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
I mean, that's the look they want to have.
Okay.
I mean,
for the sake of being cold?
I mean, maybe they just don't even notice it, or they might wear leggings underneath them. Some people do that.
Okay.
So.
Listen, people can do whatever they want. But
I just want to explain to you these.
But if it bothers me, it's gonna bother me.
Did you have questions about lady things?
No.
Remember I told you to come up with lady things.
No, I don't have any what?
Well, you don't date, so I wanted to
Oh God,
out.
you sound like my mother now.
Well, I wanted to
Christ.
I've been trying to yinta you for a while now.
Yinta?
Yeah, that's like.
Here's a lady question. What the hell is a yinta?
Somebody who finds you it's a matchmaker, someone that helps you find.
What is the origin of the word yinta?
I watch do you watch the show with Adam Goldberg? It's what is that stupid show called? I just watched it. It's in the 80s. Oh, I just forgot what it's.
The Goldbergs?
The Goldbergs, yes, thank you. That mom, she calls herself a yinta all the time. And
That's a Jewish word.
I know.
That's a Barbara Streisand word.
But yeah, she yintas all the time, and I want a yinta for you.
I don't need any. I have enough problems. You can see how easily I get upset over hair color and ripped jeans, and you want to just pair another person. You need to find an equally miserable person to be with me.
I don't think that at all. I think that I'm very confused. From the first time I met, not the first time I met you. After I got to know you, I was surprised you don't date. No one's interested in dating you.
No one's interested in a fat alcoholic who drinks and cusses too much and who reminds them of their father. There's all these jokes about dads and dad bods, but trust me, they aren't lined up outside the door.
But I mean,
for people who reminds them of their dad, Randy.
Ladies out there who are wanting to have a very nice guy, and he's also very hilarious, will make you laugh. And I love the face. I look on your face. I'm going to take a picture of your face right now.
Well,
but also,
hopefully I make people. This is a comedy podcast.
I understand that, but I just want people to be aware of your qualifications here that I see in you. You have a great time always, and you're very respectable. And
yeah, that's okay. I'll give you that.
Yeah, you're very, very respectable.
Let me just lay the line for you.
I'm so excited.
In high school, my high school was weird. They had super superlatives, so they had the normal superlatives that every school has. But then they're like, well, we just need more because we're special like that. And this one girl goes, RJ, I voted for you for one of the superlatives. I go, oh, awesome. And this girl was basically an acquaintance.
Yeah.
I go, oh, awesome, thanks. I'm like, which one? She goes, oh, the one you would the one you'd bring home, the best person to bring home to meet the parents. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, okay.
Yeah.
And then she just kicks it off after that with, because you're just like a dad. You're just like a dad for everybody. So I go, oh.
I told you the other
Alright.
way to combat that is to date a girl that doesn't have a dad.
No, listen, I'm not getting into anyone's psychological issues.
I'm just saying, you don't remind me of my dad because you hang out with me.
Whoa! Moving on from that, I know there's another thing that I talked about that bothers you.
Okay.
People wearing pajamas outside.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so I want you to make a poll because of how many people would wear pajamas to the grocery store or wear pajamas outside, because you haven't been that sick, depressed, or lazy that you just didn't give a shit that you had to wear pajamas outside.
Listen, I was on my deathbed and returned movies to the video rental place, and I got fully dressed.
This is where I'm gonna drop an F-bomb. What the fuck is wrong with you?
If I see you out there, I assume you're a lazy stoner.
Well, I'm not a lazy stoner. I got high once. Don't tell my mom. And I thought I was gonna die, and I puked like The Exorcist.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, my parents raised me with an upbringing of, your appearance, is first impressions matter. And if I see someone in pajamas, that's an impression in my mind of how lazy I think you are.
Gotcha. The only times I've ever gone out in public in my pajamas, besides going to our friend Tyson's house, is
well, see, that's different. Like, you're going to a friend's house, presumably later to watch TV or just screw around.
Sometimes it's at midnight.
Yeah.
I mean, also I make candles there, so I sometimes to be there for hours.
But I understand something like that. But I see people in Kroger or Publix at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, 3:30 in the afternoon is a little bit harder. I usually also am acquired with that look of I'm dead because I'm so sick, and I'm getting medicine, and I'm just getting medicine or soup, and that's it. And I just drug myself out of bed, and I'm going straight back there.
If I'm ever sick enough that I won't get out of stuff, I have everything delivered here so I can stay in my pajamas.
This was also, I don't do that now. I'm an anti-vaxxer now, and so I don't use medicine. I use all my hippie stuff. But I'm not an anti-vaxxer. But this was also before. A lot of times when I was super sick, that was before you could get shit delivered. So, there was a time before that.
All right, do you have anything else you have to complain about?
I don't think so.
This is supposed to be for me to complain about things.
Well, I just want.
All right, let's go
to point of view.
The news articles.
Okay.
Here we go. Pot-bellied pig running loose, lured home with a pack of Oreos. Charlotte the pig clearly has her priorities in line. Oh boy, where is this? A cookie-loving pot-bellied pig is back at home after a brief escape was thwarted by a pack of most stuffed Oreos. Ohio's Middleton, is that Middleton or Middletown? Middletown?
I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce stuff.
Division of Police posted on Facebook about the pig caught hoofing it down the street on Friday. How did they need Oreos to catch this thing? This pig is so fat, I don't think it's going anywhere very quickly.
Would you ever have a pig as a pet?
My uncle actually had a pig as a pet. His name was Gumby.
Inside the house?
I was very young when he had it, and the most I remember was he was very, very old and got very angry in his old age, and that was right around the time when I was starting to remember things, so he was kept, in his pen.
Would you ever have a pig in your house?
No.
Okay. I do like to listen to, I have a weird thing with celebrity talk shows and celebrity interviews, and you can hear Miley Cyrus talk about her pig, and it's it has its own couch.
Well, she's a lunatic, so let's just move on.
This article made me think of that.
And though law enforcement initially identified the pig as a he, the animal's owner, Yvette Hoffman, revealed in comments on the post that her pet was actually a female named Charlotte. Well, God forbid you misgender the pig. All right. Dispatchers. She told that the sociable pig was likely looking for friends.
Aw, she just wanted to
How sweet.
find a little.
This is the
find a
quote
little
from
love.
the officers. The owner fed her some Oreos, then put a leash on her and took her home. Oh my goodness. In October, another runaway snack-happy pig made headlines after police officers in California led him home with a trail. Why can't people just catch the pig? Why do they have to leading him home?
Maybe did it say how big the pig is? Maybe no one could pick up the pig, or they didn't know if it would be aggressive, so they decided to try to feed it back to its house.
All right, let's move on to the next
There's
one.
probably a logical reason in there.
Let's see here.
No, that logic sometimes surpasses.
Germantown sees a Smurf invasion.
I did see this one.
As thousands gather to break a world record.
Before we get into this, last week with that James and the Giant Peach, a lot of my set building friends were making comments on that, like
Were they?
talking about their own like set mishaps,
Mm-hmm.
and then they were like, "I could build a better vagina than that."
They came covered in blue paint, donning red and white hats, nearly 3,000 in all. The goal was simple, to break the world record for the largest group of people dressed as Smurfs. Who thinks of these things, first of all?
Would you do this
No.
if this was happening at like MTSU or something?
No.
You wouldn't dress.
No.
Would you?
If it were something else, maybe.
What would you do that you could do this?
Like, if it was, like, superheroes.
Superhero.
Like, I could just do, like, a little mask or something. I'm not painting myself blue.
You wouldn't dye your hair blue to be a Smurf for the day?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I mean, not everyone's hair is blue, I don't think, because Smurfette's hair is blonde, right?
Yes. Most of them wear hats.
That's true.
Get familiar with your Smurf. This took place in Germany
Yeah.
on Saturday.
Germans are cool.
Near the... Yes, they've gotten cooler over the years, I guess. Maybe they're making up for something.
I was listening to Dax Shepard on the way here.
We're not talking about
Well,
him.
just he was talking about that you can't use the name Adolf anymore. And
It's very true.
there's a lot of names in history you just like, they could have been good names, but someone had to go shit it up.
Goodness. Has yet to Guinness World Records has yet to confirm the feat. The standing record is held as of a group of 2,510 people in the United Kingdom in 2009. So it took 10 years to break this record.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would never dress up as a Smurf. And these
Those
people, like, from
they're
the
wearing
picture.
poor wigs. They're wearing bad wigs.
Yeah, but it's just to break the record.
They should have gone all in.
That girl has Game of Thrones
She's
wig.
got that
Khaleesi
Cindy
hair. All right, moving on.
We got a wig like that in the theater.
Okay, here we go. Oh, this is another world record attempt. Nudists plan roller coaster world record attempt. A British nudist group is organizing an attempt at breaking the Guinness World Record by having more than 100 people ride a roller coaster while naked. Think of the cleanup that poor amusement park would have to do.
Do you like going on roller coasters?
Yes, but not naked.
Would you ever go to a nudist a colony? Like, would you ever visit one?
That's an odd question, because we talked about that for intramurals. We were looking for sponsors, and we looked up the Chamber of Commerce, and on there was nudism section, and there's a nudist park in Murfreesboro, and it's just like, it was more of like how curiosity would kill the cat,
So you would go to one?
just to see who these people are
Okay.
and what
If you went, would you go fully clothed or would you participate?
I don't know. I might have to flip a coin. It depends.
Okay, well, you know.
If I've been to the gym recently,
How many miles you ran?
yeah, how many miles I've ran, who are the other people?
I mean, it's a wide variety of people.
I understand. British Naturism said it's hoping to get at least 103 people to participate on March 2nd to break the record for most naked riders on a theme park at the Blackpool Pleasure Beach.
Well, this
So-
is an opportunity for you to go
Yes.
to England. What
Yes.
are you doing next weekend?
Yes, if anyone's free next weekend, head over there. The current record is 102 naked people on the Green Scream roller coaster in southern Essex, England. Again, it's just who even thinks of these? Like some of these world records I've seen broken, like, You just want the world record for the world record?
Probably.
Unbelievable.
There's nothing you would want to have a world record for?
The record attempt will be followed by a skinny dip event at the Sandcastle Water Park, which will allow people to ride the water slides
that
in the
sounds
buff
horrible.
for 3 hours.
I feel
So
like you...
don't take little Jimmy to the water park in...
Well, number one, you need that buffer, I feel like, between you and that slide. Like...
Well, you're kind of hydroplaning. But if you get enough speed, you get on there and the cracks.
Yeah. Well, I've known plenty of people like that have ripped their swimsuits like on the bottoms on a water slide because like it rubbed it.
Rubbed it wrong? Well, maybe those people are looking for a certain rubbing. Moving on! We have one more. Or two more?
2 more, it looks like.
I think this might be the same one. Oh, yes. A confused gator, a golfer's ball snatched out of the air by a hungry gator. This is in Florida.
I'm so excited.
I've read
What
this
part?
one. I believe it's Bonita National Club. That's in Naples, I believe. That's West Coast old people land. So what's her name? Joanne Sadowski.
That W's probably a V.
Sadovsky. She said, I shanked the ball to the right and was heading to the water. It was close to the gator's head. He saw it, jumped up, and caught it. This might be, one of those trained alligators they released back into the wild after the circus closed.
Have you ever been to the circus?
When I was very young.
I've never been to the circus.
The only part I really enjoyed was when they shot the man out of the cannon. Because they did like the drum roll and everything.
I asked to go to the circus once, and my uncle told me what happens to the animals at the circus and gave me like a lesson. Like
Oh no!
It was probably like between 8 and 10, and like he was like, "We can still go if you want." After telling me about like the torturing of the animals and
great.
the whole.
One of the James Bond movies has a very cheesy circus scene.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the Roger Moore ones. It's Octopussy, I believe, where James Bond. Why are you laughing?
Octopussy.
Oh, unbelievable! But James Bond disguises himself as a clown, and he's like punching people. It's very, very cheesy.
I probably would have hated circus. I hate clowns. Clowns are the worst. Clowns and dolls, number one scared thing.
Clowns and dolls.
Yeah.
So you hate Annabelle and It?
Oh my gosh, I've never seen Annabelle the movie.
Neither have I. All right.
We could watch that. You
Here
have
we
that?
go. What's this one? Granddad downs half a pot of paint, mistaking it for yogurt.
Oh, I heard about
and
this
has
one.
no regrets.
Someone was talking about this last night.
90-year-old granddad has somehow managed to drink half a can of paint with no adverse effects whatsoever.
Because look at his face.
He was unfazed. Oh yeah, he literally it's green. His granddaughter discovered a
I
half
wonder if
empty
he
can
has
of
like
paint.
dementia or if he has like Alzheimer's.
No, I don't think so, because he has a comment about it. Down here, always lived. Let's see here. Here's what Bobby, the guy who said it, he wrote, apparently I ate paint this morning. Shit honestly tastes better than yogurt, so hashtag no regrets. Poison Control laughed at me, but they said it'll be fine. First of all, this guy has to be a superhero to eat all that paint and nothing happen.
I mean, if it was non-toxic, go back up and see what the kind of, like, was it, does it say what kind of brand it is or anything?
No, I don't know. But still, all of that in your system cannot be good for you.
Poison Control said it was fine. He probably won't die. But it sounds like he's a funny guy.
Good
do you
for
have
him.
Do you have a grandpa that's funny?
My grandpa Walter. Well, both my grandfathers. Walter is no longer with us. God rest his soul.
My grandpa was funny too.
Yes, they were both funny. Jack, who's still alive, is very, very funny.
My other grandpa's not very funny. He's.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, he's fine. He's just very dry, and you probably would like him.
Jack, my grandpa Jack, has this thing. He's very deaf, but I feel like he plays it up for laughs. Because he'll just go, huh? And then he's just kind of got like the smile, like, yeah, I heard you, but I'm not.
Last night when you yelled in my ear, you also yelled in the lady sitting next to me, and I had to apologize to her. I was like, are you okay? She goes, my ear's ringing.
Well, she should get over the fact I was looking for a murderer last night.
I know.
Very serious
I wasn't
business.
the murderer though last night.
Yeah, but I had to clear you.
Well, that was weird last night. I wasn't the murderer, and I have been for so many nights. I was like, ha ha ha, I didn't murder people.
Well, anyway, we
Okay,
don't
be
have
honest.
any emails this week.
so sad.
It's all right. But if you do have an email, want to be part of the show, write into fromrjwithlove@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you. And that's about
Have
it
you
for the
checked,
show.
though? When's the last time you checked? Your
I
emails?
checked right before we started. Let me check again.
Okay, well, someone might have had someone in. Maybe
Nope.
you don't know how to check the email system.
Nope. Stop it.
How long have we been talking?
I don't know. The thing I don't know how the thing works. It just records me. Anyway, Melinda, thank you so much for being on the show today.
I'm gonna start working on your. I need to start working on your song for your show.
Oh yeah, I do. If you want to do a theme song for me, write it in.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you so much for being on the show.
Let RJ know if you want me on here regularly, or if you hated me. I mean, you're the listeners.
Yes, and if someone else wants to be on the show, you can come and audition.
I didn't have to audition.
Well, you were bothering me, so I figured you might as well come on.
I was really surprised you let me on, though. That was nice of you.
Well, I
Thank you.
figured needed a change of pace.
Yeah, and if you get tired of listening to you talk, probably.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, thanks again for listening, and as always, this has been From RJ with Love.